Okay, let's look at Unit 4, Lesson 19, Real and Non-Real Solutions. Let's create and solve quadratic equations. This is the last lesson in this unit. Okay, now here's the point. When you have a quadratic equation, anything with x squared in it, it makes a graph called a parabola. These are parabolas. They look like a U, whether they be upright or flipped over. Okay. Now, we're talking about the discriminant of the quadratic formula. So now we're going to use the quadratic formula exclusively. B squared minus 4AC. B squared minus 4AC is part of the quadratic formula. It is what it is. Just substitute the numbers in. When B squared minus 4AC is greater than 0, there are no real roots because the quadratic does not touch the x-axis. When b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0, it touched the x-axis once. It has one real root. When b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, it has two roots because the graph comes through the x-axis twice. So you can see that in the cases of A, B, and C. Okay, what do you notice? What do you wonder? F of x equals 2x squared plus 4x. When f of x equals 0, when x equals 0 at negative 2. So that's what that means is 0 and negative 2. If you stick 0 and negative 2 in for x, y equals 0. So that means there's two real roots. If I was to put this in the quadratic formula, b squared minus 4ac, b squared minus 4ac would be greater than 0 because b is 4 minus 4 times a times 0. Anything times 0 is 0, and you're left with 16. Because 4 squared is 16. Minus 0 is just 16. Okay, so now we are gaining a third term, a c. So let's see what happens. So, a negative 1. You have one root, which means b squared minus 4ac must be equal to 0. So 4 squared again, minus 4 times 2 times 2 is 16 minus 16, which is 0. So whatever the other numbers are, b squared over 2a, negative b over 2a, gives us negative 4 over 2 times 2, which gives us negative 4 over 4, which is negative 1. So that's the rest of the quadratic formula. This is the discriminant under the square root part, and negative b plus or minus this. So negative 1 tells us because b squared minus 4ac is 0, negative 1 is the actual x-intercept. So now we see no real roots. That means b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. So let's look at this. All right, b squared minus 4ac. So 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times 4 is 16 minus 32, which is negative 16. And you can't take the square root of a negative number and have a real number. So this tells us that the graph never crosses the x-axis, never touches the x-axis. Okay, here are some equations. All you have to do, you don't have to solve the whole thing with the quadratic, but you can if you want. All we need is the b squared minus 4ac part. All right, so b squared minus 4ac. So negative 6 quantity squared minus 4 times 1 times 5. Remember, if there's no number in front of an x, we put a 1. This becomes negative 1. This becomes negative 1. All right, so b squared 36 minus 20. 4 times 1 times 5 is 20. We get 16, and that's positive. So we get two real roots. All right, for the next one. -6 quantity squared minus 4 times A times C. All right, we get 36 minus 4 times 13 is 52. That's -16. And the square root of -16 is 4i. So there's two non-real roots. Now this is going to get cramped on this page. All right, for the next one, b squared minus 4ac is 6. Is 6 squared minus 4 times A, which is -1, times C, which is -9. 3 negatives make a negative, so this is 36 minus 36, which is 0. That means 1 real root. And then finally, the last one, there is no B term, so minus 4 times A, which is -1. Let's do this in a different color. I forgot to change the colors. So -4 times -1 times -9. 3 negatives give us a negative, so this is -36. This is negative, which means we get 2 non-real roots. 2 non-real roots. The square root of 36 is 6i. Okay, here, make your own equations. Create 3 different quadratic equations in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 with real coefficients. So if we take, let's see, what do we know? Let's take a perfect square problem. Like, I don't know, for a, x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. Well, this is a perfect square trinomial, so I know that x plus 2 squared, this gives me 1 real root of -2. Okay, so that's 1 real solution. How do I know it's 1 real solution? Because x plus 2 equals 0. Subtract 2, x equals -2. All right. B. Let's take a difference of squares. X squared minus 16. Now, I know that this is x plus 4 and x minus 4. I know I have 2 real roots. And if I do b squared minus 4ac, I get 0 minus 4 times 1 times -16. 4 16s are 64. So that's positive. So that lets me know that I have 2 real solutions because we have positive. All right. Now for C, I have to think now. Let's see, x squared. Okay, so whatever my B term is, let's say it's 5. My C term must be bigger than 5 squared. So it must be bigger than 25 times 4. What number times 4 is bigger than 25? Let's say 7. So then let's do b squared minus 4ac. So I got 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times 7. I don't need the equals. So they give me 25 minus 4 times 7 is 28. That gives me -3. So this one gives me 2 non-real solutions.